Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Syndicate. I'm Sophia, and this is the podcast where we help you improve your English while discussing real-world topics that matter. Today, we're diving into something that affects so many of our listeners, job interviews, and specifically why fresh graduates often struggle in them.
And I'm James. Sophia, this is such a timely topic. I've been hearing from so many of our listeners who just finished university and are having a really tough time in interviews.
Exactly. And you know what's interesting? A lot of these graduates are brilliant students with great grades, but somehow they're not making it past the interview stage. So today we want to talk about the common mistakes we see and, more importantly, how to fix them.
Right. And before we start, we'd love to hear from you guys. Have you had any interview experiences, good or bad? Send us your stories on social media or email us.
So, James, let's start with the biggest issue I see, vocabulary. Fresh graduates often use very basic, simple words during interviews. They'll say things like, "I'm good at working with people," instead of saying, "I excel at collaborative teamwork," or "I have strong interpersonal skills."
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just about using big words to sound smart.
Exactly.
It's about precision. When you say, "I'm good at problem solving," that's vague. But if you say, "I'm skilled at analytical thinking and finding creative solutions to complex challenges," that paints a much clearer picture.
That's so true. And another huge problem is lack of job knowledge. I've seen graduates apply for marketing positions, but they can't explain what SEO means. Or they want to work in finance, but don't understand basic concepts like ROI, return on investment.
Right. It's like, imagine you're hiring someone and they show up completely unprepared. That's a red flag.
Totally. And here's something that might surprise our listeners. General knowledge matters too. I remember interviewing someone for an entry-level position, and when I asked about current events or industry trends, they had absolutely no idea what was happening in the world.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, employers want to see that you're curious, that you read the news, that you understand how your potential job fits into the bigger picture. If you're applying for a job at a tech company, you should know about recent developments in technology, right?
That makes perfect sense. And speaking of the bigger picture, let's talk about soft skills. This is where I see so many graduates struggle.
Oh, soft skills are huge. Communication, teamwork, leadership potential, emotional intelligence. These are things you can't really learn from textbooks.
Exactly. And the thing is, you can't just say, "I have good communication skills." You need to demonstrate them during the interview itself. How you speak, how you listen, how you respond to questions, that's your proof.
Right, and this brings us to probably the biggest issue of all, confidence. So many fresh graduates come across as nervous, unsure, or they undersell themselves. They'll say things like, "I think I might be okay at this," instead of saying, "I'm confident I can excel in this role."
Yeah. But you know what, Sophia? I kind of understand why they're nervous.
Of course.
They're competing with people with more experience. They're in a new environment. Everything feels high pressure. The key is learning how to channel those nerves into positive energy.
And speaking of nerves, we actually got an email from Sarah in Brazil who said she was so nervous in her first interview that she completely blanked when they asked about her strengths. James, I bet our listeners can relate to that feeling.
Oh, absolutely. And Sarah, if you're listening, that happens to so many people. But here's the thing. You can prepare for that moment. Have 3 key strengths ready, each with a specific example. Like instead of saying, "I'm organized," you could say, "I'm extremely organized." For example, I managed the schedule for 5 group projects simultaneously last semester, and we never miss a single deadline.
Exactly. And listeners, we want to hear your interview stories too, both the good and the awkward moments. Email us or comment below. Now, James, let's get into some specific scenarios. What about when they ask, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" I swear every graduate I know struggles with this one.
Oh, yes, and they usually give some generic answer like, "I want to be successful." That tells the interviewer nothing. Instead, show you've thought about your career path. You could say something like, "In 5 years, I see myself having developed expertise in digital marketing analytics, potentially leading a small team, and having contributed to at least 3 major campaign launches that drive measurable business growth."
Perfect. That shows ambition and specificity. And here's another tricky one: salary expectations. James, what's your take on this? Because I know our listeners are always asking about when and how to discuss money.
Great question. First rule, research the market rate for that position in your area. Websites like Glassdoor or Payscale can help. Then, when they ask, don't just throw out a random number. You could say something like, based on my research and the responsibilities of this role, I'm looking at a range between X and Y, but I'm more interested in finding the right opportunity where I can grow and contribute meaningfully. And listeners, what salary questions have stumped you? Let us know.
Absolutely. And while we're on challenging questions, can we talk about the classic, what's your biggest weakness? Because honestly, James, I hear so many cringeworthy answers to this one.
Oh, now like what? I work too hard, or I'm a perfectionist. Those are not real answers. Here's the thing. Pick a genuine weakness that won't disqualify you from the job. And most importantly, explain what you're doing to improve it. For example, I sometimes struggle with public speaking, but I've joined the Toastmasters Club and I volunteer to present in class whenever possible because I know communication is crucial for career growth.
Exactly. It shows self-awareness and initiative. And you know what? Before we dive deeper into our solutions, I want to remind everyone, if you're finding this helpful, please hit that subscribe button and give us a like. It really helps us reach more people who need this advice. We put a lot of work into researching these topics and interviewing industry professionals for you. Absolutely. So let's talk solutions. How can fresh graduates stand out and market themselves effectively? James, where should they start?
Well, first thing, do your homework. Research the company thoroughly. Know their mission, their recent projects, their competitors. When you can reference specific company information in your answers, it shows genuine interest. Yes, and build your professional vocabulary. Keep a notebook of industry terms and practice using them naturally. Don't just memorize them, understand them, and practice explaining them in simple terms too.
That's brilliant. And here's something practical. Prepare specific examples. Instead of saying, I'm a hard worker, tell a story. During my final project, when we faced a tight deadline, I organized extra study sessions and helped my team deliver the presentation 2 days early. That's such a great example. And listeners, here's a scenario to practice with. Imagine you're interviewing for a customer service role, and they ask, how would you handle an angry customer? Don't just say, I'd stay calm. Try this instead. I'd listen actively to understand their concern, acknowledge their frustration by saying something like, I understand why this would be disappointing, then focus on finding a solution while keeping them informed of each step.
Love that. And here's another common one. Tell me about a time you worked under pressure. Instead of a vague answer, try this. During finals week, I had 3 major assignments due on the same day, plus a part-time job. I created a detailed timeline, broke each project into smaller tasks, and completed the most critical components first. I ended up submitting everything on time and received A's on 3 of the 3 assignments. See how specific that is?
Perfect. And you know what, listeners? We'd love for you to practice this format and share your examples with us. What's a challenging situation you faced in school, work, or life? And how did you handle it? Send us your STAR method examples. That's situation, task, action, result. And we might feature the best ones in our next episode.
Perfect example. Stories are so powerful because they're memorable and they show rather than tell. And speaking of showing, your body language matters too. Maintain eye contact, sit up straight, give a firm handshake if it's in person.
Definitely. And ask thoughtful questions at the end. Don't just ask about salary or vacation time in the first interview.
Oh, good point. Ask about growth opportunities, company culture, or challenges a team is currently facing. It shows you're thinking long-term and you care about contributing to the company.
Exactly. And here's my favorite tip. Turn your inexperience into an advantage. Say something like, while I may be new to the industry, I bring fresh perspectives, and I'm eager to learn and adapt quickly.
I love that. Reframe it as enthusiasm and potential rather than a weakness. And practice, practice, practice. Do mock interviews with friends, record yourself answering common questions, work on eliminating filler words like and like.
So true. And stay current with industry news. Follow relevant LinkedIn pages, read industry blogs, join professional groups. Show that you're genuinely interested in the field, not just looking for any job. Now, before we wrap up, we really want to hear from our listeners. Have you experienced any of these interview challenges? What worked for you? Or what do you wish you had known before your first interview?
Yeah, and if you have specific questions about interviews or career advice, send them our way. We might feature your question in a future episode.
Again, you can reach us on comment below or email us. We love hearing your stories and questions. They help us create better content for everyone.
And speaking of helping our listeners, Sophia, before we summarize, should we do a quick vocabulary review? We've mentioned a lot of professional terms today that might be useful for our listeners to practice.
Great idea. Let's do our vocabulary spotlight. We mentioned several key professional terms today that could really elevate your interview language. Let's start with ROI. James, can you break this down?
Absolutely. ROI stands for return on investment. It basically measures how much profit or benefit you get compared to how much you spent. So if a company spends $1,000 on a marketing campaign and makes $3,000 in sales from it, that's a strong ROI. In interviews, you might say, I always consider the ROI when proposing new initiatives.
Perfect. And SEO, search engine optimization. This is all about making websites show up higher in Google search results. If you're applying for any marketing or digital role, you should understand this. You could say, I understand the importance of SEO in driving organic traffic to increase brand visibility.
Great. And let's talk about soft skills. We mentioned interpersonal skills. This means your ability to communicate and work well with other people. Instead of saying, I'm good with people, try, I have strong interpersonal skills that help me build rapport with colleagues and clients.
And analytical thinking. This is your ability to break down complex problems into smaller parts and find logical solutions. You might say, my analytical thinking skills help me identify root causes of problems and develop data-driven solutions.
And don't forget collaborative teamwork. That's working together effectively with others towards a common goal. Much better than just saying, I work well in teams. Also, emotional intelligence. That's understanding and managing your own emotions while being sensitive to others' feelings.
Excellent. Listeners, practice using these terms naturally in conversation. Don't just memorize them. Understand what they mean and have examples ready. And here's a challenge. Try to use at least 3 of these terms in your next practice interview and let us know how it goes.
And seriously, we want to hear your success stories. If any of this advice helps you land an interview or get a job, please reach out and tell us. Those stories motivate us to create more episodes, and they might inspire other listeners too.
Absolutely. And actually, we're planning our next episode right now. We're thinking of covering either workplace communication or maybe networking strategies for introverts. Which topic would you prefer? Send us a DM or comment and let us know what you want to learn about.
So let's summarize all the key points we've covered today. Research the company thoroughly, build your professional vocabulary, and practice using terms like ROI and SEO naturally. Prepare specific examples with concrete details. Handle tricky questions like salary expectations and weaknesses honestly. Ask thoughtful questions that show long-term thinking. And most importantly, be confident in what you bring to the table.
Perfect summary, James. Remember, everyone, job interviews are skills that can be learned and improved. Don't get discouraged if the first few don't go perfectly. Each one is practice for the next.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the English Syndicate. This has been such a rich conversation, and honestly, we could talk about this topic for hours. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, your feedback shapes our future episodes, so please reach out with your questions and topic suggestions. Next time, we'll be discussing whatever you vote for.
Until then, keep practicing your English, stay curious, and remember, every conversation is an opportunity to improve. If you try any of our interview tips, we want to hear about it. Tag us in your success stories. Until next time, bye everyone.
As always, please do not forget to subscribe and hit the like button to show your support so that we can come out with more interesting topics. Thank you. Bye.